Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Kara from iStampin Live, or iStampin Live. How about iStampin.com? So thank you for joining me for another iStampin Live. This is the project that we are going to be making. It's very, very, very simple, which I love projects that are super cute and very easy at the same time. But before we get started, let me announce last week's winner for the giveaway. And so again, to be entered into the drawing, all you have to do is just share this Facebook Live video, and I'm going to do that right now as I'm speaking. So all you have to do is just share it. There's a little button, and after you do that, just post it. Just comment below that you shared in the comment box, and then your name will go in for a weekly drawing that I will do next Friday. So congratulations to Debbie W. You were last week's winner. So I will get in touch with you, make sure I have your correct mailing address, which I'm sure I do. And you will you will receive a fun little gift from me for participating. So thank you so much. Okay, guys, so this is the box that we're going to be making, and I like to do these boxes just because they're really nice for gifts, and this one I really like because of the size. And I can't take credit for creating this box. Actually, I've never created a box on my own. There are plenty of box tutorials and templates on the internet. So, you know, if you head to Pinterest and just search for 3D boxes, or, you know, just do a Google search, you will find a plethora of ideas. So really, there's no reason to create one yourself when there's so many available on the internet. This box, this design came from Sam Donald. She's a demonstrator over in the UK, so I have to give her credit for this one. And I love this box because it is so easy. So I'm going to show you how I created this, and I stamped the box to create my own pattern paper, and I used one of our new celebration stamps. It's called Heartfelt Blooms. So that's in our celebration catalog, and you can earn this for free when you spend $50 before tax and shipping. So this is a level 1 stamp set, and the really neat thing about this stamp is it's a new technology that Stampin' Up has created, and they're actually in the process of getting a patent for it. I don't know if you can really see it on the box, but they call it distinctive stamping, which means that the opacity of the ink is laid down, or the ink, I should say, is laid down in different opacities. So it gives you it's a flat stamp. You can see it right here. It's flat, but it gives you nice depth when you stamp it on your cardstock. So that's the stamp that I'm going to be using. And really, that's the only stamp. I'm going to use the thank you. I'm going to do some heat embossing. I've been doing some heat embossing a lot lately, but I thought y'all would just like to see it. And I love the color combination of the Night of Navy with the Crumb Cake. So why don't we get started? We're going to make the box first, and I recommend always doing this when you're making a project for the first time, is just to get out a piece of, you know, old cardstock or extra, you know, whatever you have, and just go ahead and make a template. Hi, Monica. Thank you so much for sharing. Welcome. So I always like to make a template just to make sure that, you know, I'm doing it correctly before I actually do the project. So I'll have a picture of this up on my blog, and the directions on an edited video. So hopefully you'll be able to follow along, but it's quite easy. So the first thing that you're going to do is get out your Simply Scored scoring tool and a full-size piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and if you put it in portrait or the long side, we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to start off at 1/2 inch and score. Then we're going to score at 2.5, 9.5. Whoops. And then at 10.5. Okay, and now we're going to rotate it. So now it's portrait or the short side. And we're going to score this at 2, 4, 6, and 8. And actually, I should have done my stamping first, but that's okay. We can still stamp this way. So what I would recommend is to do the stamping first and then score it, but that's okay. This will work. Okay, so I've got my large floral image, and I'm going to be doing tone on tone stamping, so I have my crumb cake. And the way I like to do stamping when I'm stamping one image and kind of creating my own pattern paper is I like to start off and going in diagonals. And then I can come back in and kind of fill in where I think I need to add some more stamping. And when I did this the first time, I spaced out the stamp a little too far. And so if you do the same thing, just flip over your cardstock and just start again. And if anybody notices that they're stamping on the inside, they'll just think that you were like super fancy and wanted to almost create like a little liner for inside your box, but I don't think anybody will notice, because that's what I did with this one. When if you look inside the box, you'll see that there's stamping on the inside too. And I just stamped them too far apart. Okay, so I'm just gonna come back in now and then just start over here and then just keep stamping at a diagonal. So hopefully you can see how, and I'm sorry that I'm shaking the table as I do this. And hopefully you can see how the ink is laid down in different opacities, so it gives this image some depth, and it looks like this is almost like a 3D look to it. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. All right, so now I'm going to work up on this top right corner. And it's really important to stamp off, and I didn't do a very good job over there. That's okay. You want to stamp off your paper. Come right here. Here. This is probably the part that takes the longest, in all honesty. And then I think this will be the last one. I'm going to come right up here. Okay, I think that's good. Other than that little piece, and hopefully that can be the part that we cover up. All right, so now what I would recommend doing is to get out your bone folder. And let's go ahead and score all the score marks. And it's really important that you do this, especially when you're making 3D projects, because you really want good creases. So is everybody having a nice Friday? Ready for the weekend? My daughter has her final basketball game tonight, so her dance season for high school is almost over, and competition season, it's just starting. We have her first competition next weekend, so goodness, her dancing is just year-round, it seems like. Okay, I've done all that. Okay, so next what we're going to do is do our cutting, and this is where the template is extremely helpful, because it's going to show you where we need to cut up to in our score marks, how we're going to trim off pieces, and how we're going to completely cut away pieces. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to cut this section off right here to start. So this little thin triangle, the 1/2 inch mark. And I'm just going to cut up to that first, well, I guess the second score line. And I'm going to come in and just notch this just a tad. Okay. And I'm going to come in and cut up to the second score line again, and on this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 little flaps. I'm going to fold in the second and fourth flap and completely cut off this third flap. Okay, so it's going to look like so. Now I'm going to come in and just trim off just a little bit of the second and fourth flaps. So when it's all done, it looks like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other end. So just trim off the little 1/2 inch rectangle. Cut up to the second score mark. Go ahead and notch just the inside of that first flap. And then let's cut. Fold in the second and fourth flap and completely remove the third flap. And then on the second and fourth, just trim off just a tad. I'm trimming off probably, I'm going about 1/8 of an inch above the score mark. Okay. So when it's all said and done, that's what it's going to look like. Okay? So just throw away all of your little pieces. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're just going to want to grab a corner rounder punch. We used to have this one. This is our little Project Live corner rounder punch. You probably have one in your supplies. If you don't, you can always use the corner rounder punch from our envelope punch board. And so all I'm doing is I'm bringing in that first flap and just rounding the corners just to kind of give it a finished look. Okay. All right, so that's what it looks like. Now what we're going to do here is put our adhesive, and I recommend using our tear-in tape just because it's super strong. So just go ahead and lay adhesive right there, and that's the only adhesive this box requires. So like I said, this box is so easy to make, which is ideal. Hi Carol, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining us. Okay, and so this will be, we'll have that where the seam is. And it's also where I didn't stamp very well. That's going to be the back. And so now all you do is you just close the flaps. And how this is where we rounded it, it makes the lid to be able to open up a little bit easier. Okay, so where's that seam? Okay, so here's the back, or the bottom, we'll say. And where I messed up on my score mark, you can see it a little bit, but I'm not too concerned. Okay, so what do y'all think? Hi, Valentina, how are you? You were making a card for Stamp Camp? Oh, very good, Carol. Well, thanks for joining me. Okay, what do y'all think? Is that cute? Super easy. I like it. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is use our 1/2 inch gingham ribbon. This is in Night of Navy. You can find this in our annual catalog. And I'm just going to place it underneath and just cut off what I think is enough, because I'm going to tie a bow. So that's probably close to 20 inches. I always like to have more than enough ribbon. There's nothing worse when you're trying to tie a bow or tie a knot or something like that when you don't have enough ribbon. that's just going to go around the box, and I like to tie a knot before I actually tie the ribbon. That way the ribbon won't slip and slide anymore. And the great thing also about this box is that you don't have to, you know, you can go ahead and decorate the front, and then that's when you can slip in your gift, whatever you want to put in there. And like I said, it's a really nice size box, so you can put some baked goods in there if you just put them in one of our little food safe bags, or if you find food safe bags elsewhere. Okay. My bows, I probably should have cut off a little bit more ribbon, but that's okay, because I like the tails to be just I like how I did the tails longer here. So I'd probably cut off maybe like 24 inches of ribbon. Okay, I'm just going to come in and just clean up the ends. So it's going to look like that. Isn't that just gingham ribbon adorable? This is probably one of my favorite color combinations, is Night of Navy and Crumb Cake. Just such a classic look. Okay, so the box is almost all done. Next thing you need to do is just grab a scrap piece of Night of Navy. I'm going to use my Embossing Buddy and rub that along the paper. You'll need to get your VersaMark ink. And then I'm using the thank you stamp from the same stamp set. And we're going to heat emboss this in white. So just stamp that right there. Let's go ahead and sprinkle our white embossing powder over this. Okay. And I'm a little crooked, but I can straighten that up when I cut it. Okay, so then you just want to grab your heat tool, and I like to turn it on to the second setting. Every time I heat emboss, I just like go, wow, that is so cool. I just think it's so fun to watch that powder melt. Okay. Oh, you're decluttering? Good for you, Valentina. That's a good project to do on a Friday. Okay, so I just have my little tabletop trimmer here, and I am just going to trim off just about, let's say about 3/4 of an inch, because we're going to be notching the right side. You can't remember. That's so funny. I do the same thing. I have to write stuff down. Even when I write it down, then I can't remember where I wrote it down. But I do the same thing, Carol. I have all these grand ideas, and then I'm like, okay, what was I thinking? It's sad. Okay, so I'm just coming in and just trimming off. You want to be, you know, fairly close to the edge. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this straight somehow. This one may just be a little bit crooked. Let's see. That's how I get so frustrated when with myself when I accidentally order the wood stamps. I'm like, I didn't mean to. Clear them out, or the photopolymer are my stamps of choice. And it's not worth for me just to send it back and exchange it out, so I just deal with it. But so I didn't stamp this all that straight. Let me see if I can straighten this up a little bit. Whoops. So we'll see here. Come on. I guess I probably just could. Let me just try this with scissors. Hopefully I won't make this worse. Okay, it's a little crooked. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's see right here. But I think y'all get the idea. Just make clean cuts. It gets even more crooked every time I keep cutting. Oh my gosh. Pretty soon I'm not going to have anything left to cut. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. All right, so I'm going to come in, I'm going to trim off just a little bit right here. I'm going to come in and just notch the right side. Just like so. And then on the left side, I'm going to use our 1/8 inch handheld circle punch. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to come in with our linen thread, and I'm going to cut off, I call where the little bends are segments. I'm going to cut off 3 segments because I'm going to be tying a bow with this also. So let's go ahead and bring our box in. And I'm just going to feed that through the hole, and then this is going to go underneath the bow. Or I guess underneath the knot of the bow, I should say. All right, and again, I'm going to tie another knot. Try to get this. There we go. And then let's just tie a bow. You could knot this and just, you know, trim off the linen thread if you wanted, if you don't want to tie another bow. But I just thought this would look kind of pretty with 2 bows. Okay, and there's our tag. And let me just come in and just trim off the linen thread a little bit. And that's it. This is a really quick project, super cute. It really, I think if somebody received this, I think they would be highly impressed because it looks like such a fancy, very, you know, expensive little gift packaging. But, you know, it was very easy. It was 1 piece of cardstock to create the box, 1 stamp set with the floral image and the thank you. Oh, thanks, Carol. I'm glad you like it. And ribbon. I mean, you know, this is a very, you know, inexpensive box to make. And like I said, it's nice size. So when it's finished, it's 6 inches by 2 inches. So it's a so it's 6 inches long, 2 inches tall all the way around. So, you know, you can really fit some nice little goodies in there. So, what do you think? Give me some thumbs up, some hearts if y'all like the project. Let me see if I have any questions or comments. You're laughing at me, Valentine? Okay, thank you. I love it. You know, Carol, this little trimmer, I got this off of Amazon. It's just a little tonic tabletop trimmer, and this is what I use for really small little pieces like that, because obviously you can see that I suck at cutting it with scissors. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. Love it. I want to go craft now. Well, clean first, Valentina, then you can craft. That can be your reward. Oh, thanks, Tammy. All right, guys. Well, I do want to let you know just a little bit of housekeeping for next week. My daughter, Jillian, like I was saying earlier, her competition starts next weekend. And if you've followed me for the past few years, you know this time of year I get really crazy with having to rhinestone costumes. Well, it's that time of year again. So next week I probably will not be as active with content. I'm going to try my best to do 2 videos. I'm going to do a video probably on Monday or Tuesday, and then have my Facebook Live next Friday. So, you know, I haven't like disappeared. It's just that I'm going to be rhinestoning costumes. You know, I hate that they wait until the very last minute to give this all to us, but I've got to be working on that starting this weekend and all next week. Oh, thanks, Diana. So be sure to share this video with your friends if you haven't already, so that you can get into the drawing, and join me next week for some more fun content, and have a great weekend, ladies. Thank you. Bye. Oh, also, if you're watching this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe, and I will have an edited post up later today, so that in a blog post, edited video, let me say that, in a blog post, so that you can watch it again. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.